We get to choose how we want to perceive the moment right now. And another skill that I don't talk about enough, but it's so related to making mistakes, is the skill of laughing at ourselves. This is something I do very easily. Like, do you think it's easy for me to just start talking, to my audience, and knowing very well that I say a lot, or I say I know a lot, or not I know, but like I know I say that all the time. Like I use all these fillers that aren't necessary. I'm not the greatest public speaker, but I laugh at myself. I'm a human being. I actually make mistakes, and I think it's quite humorous sometimes, the mistakes I make. It's sort of like, go figure, another Luella move. Welcome to my podcast, I Think I Can. My intention for the podcast is for individuals to begin a transformational journey towards self-awareness and self-actualization. And I do this by telling my own story, as well as all the stories from my past clients. And I do this so that you too can feel safe knowing that change is available to you, but also so you can take more responsibility for your life in 3 specific ways: in your health, your self, and your wealth. Now sit back and enjoy the show. And just a special note about today's podcast episode is that these are my views and the views of my guest, and they are not meant to represent everyone's truth. My interviews are meant to open up the minds of people who seek a deeper awareness of themselves, their relationships, and their health. And with that, thank you for listening. The reason I wanted to get on here today was that I really feel that more people need to know that you can make a mistake and still get to be loved. Like, I think a lot of people forget that. I feel I have so many women that I work with, especially women, because let's face it, men don't feel, they do that same sort of guilt after they've made a mistake, like same sort of shame and guilt. And yeah, that's a gift. Like that's a gift that they have. Likely has to do with our sex hormones, women having much more estrogen going through their bodies than men do, and you know what? Like, let's face it. Thank God they have less estrogen and more testosterone, because you know what? When things get hard, when things get tough, when they need to, as a provider, when they need to go out there and provide, like back in the caveman time. Thank God they didn't sit around the fire and cry. They went out and they got the buffalo, thank God that they do have that. But I think as women, we need to develop that skill of shedding the guilt and the shame much quicker and step into this like unwavering self-love. And we get to be loved despite making a mistake, okay? We get to be loved despite not always making the right choices or the right decisions. It's called being a human being. I always say that all the time, right? But it is the way it is. And God knows that I've made mistakes in my life. Made mistakes, money mistakes. I've made relationship mistakes. I've made parenting mistakes. I've made health mistakes. I've made them all. I've made them all. And I'm not apologizing for any of them. And you know what? What I also realize as of late is that it's never going to end. Like I continue to make mistakes. Even though at the time I was just like, this feels so right. This feels so good. And I find out I've still made the mistake. It's sort of like, oh my God, like I this whole idea of trusting your intuition, I think it's sort of like the way it's marketed out there. It's like, you're going to get to this point where you always reach this place in your decision making that you're never going to make a mistake. No, it's just that you refine it over time. That's all. Because when I've made that mistake, I also realized at the same time that it was such a good thing. It was such a good thing because I learned so much from that now. I learned through contrast. I just simply learned through contrast. And it's one of the best ways to learn, So that's why I really advocate moving and doing things that seem very scary, because you're going to learn no matter what, and you are going to elevate in your life. So, how it seems like we often hear like this rags to riches sort of stories, right? People that follow their desires. Well, I want you to know that it doesn't have to be rags. Like, please, people, don't hit rock bottom to make these moves, And I think the easiest way to see that is in your health. It's so often we wait for a disease to manifest before we do something that, advocates towards prevention. Like, to be honest with you, I opened up Instagram a few times. Like, does this happen to you too? Like, you open up Instagram to do a post or to do like a live or a reel, and something catches you on, like something catches your attention, right? Someone you're following, posted something similar. And I just decided to follow someone who's like, I don't even know what her what is it called? Her handle is on Instagram, but it has to do with Mediterranean diet. And if I was to choose a diet, it would be Mediterranean. It's like, it's what I've been doing for a very, very long time. But like, dang it, when they post those recipes and stuff like that, it's just sort of like, oh my God, I need to follow this. And so then I get distracted, right? But it's like, oh no, okay, no, I'm here for a live. Let's do the live. But anyway, yes, like, even though I don't necessarily love cooking, I know that I do need to get in the kitchen and spend some time doing the things that I know are going to, that's going to feed my health, that's going to feed my longevity, that's going to give me more energy and much better blood work, all the things. It's sort of, we need to do the things that are going to make us advance in life. So, but we don't need to have a disease before this is going to happen. We don't need for our relationship to hit rock bottom or our bank account to hit rock bottom to do the things that we just know that are good for our heart and our soul. So back to making mistakes. You get to make mistakes. And I have one of my clients in mind, you know, when I'm talking right now, is that she did make relationship mistakes. And, you know, it looks different for everyone, but like she did what most people do in relationships, and that's ignoring the red flags. Like maybe ignoring how she allowed her partner to hurt her repeatedly, how she strayed away from her values and her standards, for example. And she gave her partner another chance, rather than holding on to her standards and her values. And in doing that, her mental health really decreased, right? Like it really got to a very, very low stage. And so she became, you know, like a shell of herself, right? And she didn't have the energy and the courage anymore to do the things that she needed to do. But thankfully, she got out of that. Like it was a bit of a divine intervention, and she rose to the top. And my goodness, as I speak right now, I realize she's one of many that I've worked with, right? It's sort of like, it's so easy to do. And yeah, but you just can't, like you got to gain that resiliency, right? You got to have that determination and that self-discipline to keep on going when things get tough, and to realize you're one of many. You know, you're not the only one that this happened to. There's so many people that this happened to, that you got to realize other people have done it. And it's sort of, you know, how much do you believe in yourself? How much desire do you have? And this brings me to the topic of ambition. Some people think about, you know, well, I don't have that same ambition, or I don't know, or maybe as a parent you're thinking about your child and you're going, oh my gosh, why does my child not have this ambition that I have, or that I had at her age or his age or whatever? Well, it's not ambition. I'm sorry, it's not ambition. That's not the reason that they're like maybe not moving. It's because I truly believe everybody is born with ambition, because everybody is born with a desire, a reason for living, a goal that they have, right? Like everybody's born with goals, ambition, dreams, but somehow that's sucked out of you or your child down the road. I don't know how. If it's your child, maybe it's the people that they're hanging around with. If it's your if it's yourself, maybe it's some sort of societal programming that, you know, was delivered to you. You got to realize that so many of us fall into this sense of what's common and what's not, right? Like, and that's societal programming, but it's parental programming as well. Like, it's sort of like, this is not common, therefore this is not available to you, right? We all fall into, well, I can't do that. I mean, look around. Like, I mean, who does that? Who cares who does that? The fact is that you feel called to do this. You feel called to do something unconventional. You feel called to do something that's out of the norm. you have to realize that the fact that you desire this is the only reason that you need to act on it and do it. Become it. Embody it. Try it out. Try it out. And even for myself, it's sort of stepping into coaching from being a therapist for so many years. Do you not think, people, that this was hard for me? There was a lot of wavering back and forth, a lot of, should I's or whatever, but the desire was so strong for me that I did it anyway, despite people maybe thinking that I shouldn't do it, or, what are you doing? It's like, no, it was such a desire, because I just want people to follow their dreams so much. So I want them to go from good to great, just like it's available. It's available for you to go from good to great. It's available for you to have that desire and that goal. Like it's so important that you don't step away from that. You have to grab onto it with unwavering conviction, just like, because you have it, it's meant to be, and that's period. Amen. Done. And you got to be resilient, because I tell you, you're going to doubt yourself along the way. It's not like every single day you're like, oh my God, now that I've decided to do this, it's just sort of like, no. Now that you've decided to do it, you stick to your decision and you follow it no matter what. That's what deciding means. It's like you decide and you don't look back. It's not that it doesn't, it's easy after that. It's not easy. Oh, and let me talk to you about hard work. Sometimes I get really annoyed in the coaching industry, especially because I hear some female coaches especially talk about ease and flow and, I don't know, just like female energetics and just like receiving and just leaning back and allowing and blah, blah, blah. But no, it's not just that. It's not just sitting back, eating grapes on the couch, and it's not just allowing yourself to receive and manifesting and yada, yada. There's a hell of a lot of hard work. You need to work hard. But it's not always working hard, which is something I used to do. Like, working hard all the time leads to extreme burnout, whether that's towards, a really strict health regimen, a really strict exercise regimen. That's where I went wrong. It's more than that. It's not all that. It's not. There's no such thing as balance, right? It's not like, okay, I'm just going to do 50% hard, and 50% lean back and receive. It's just it's that to me is a flow. It's sort of like, this is a season where I grind it right now. I grind it. I'm working really hard right now. But then there's, you got to give yourself some 20% there, right? It could be 80% season of working hard, but you do need to lean back in that. It's just that, I don't know. I just feel like there's too much, a little bit too much advocating for leaning back and just like not working so hard, because, you know, we got to realize our parents back in the day worked really hard, especially if they were, you know, newcomers and yeah, like they worked hard because they left the life that they did in their home country, and they came here because they followed their dream. But some were, I mean, had to leave the country, right? They were exploited, and they ran. They ran from war, or they followed their dream, and they worked damn hard. They worked damn hard, and it's no different from us. If we really want our dreams, we have to work hard, but we have to realize it doesn't always have to be that way, whether we're talking about a 24-hour period or whether we're talking about our lifespan, that we get to have the life we desire after a certain amount of time. We do. You continue on that, and you know. And throughout that, though, you have these conversations, like with your partner, for example. Like, you can't just put the blinders on and think that I'm just going to work really hard and I'm not going to become vulnerable and tell my partner why I believe in myself. You know, like why, like it's sort of like you have to have these conversations, even though they might not want to support you or feel like, you know, you might not always feel like either your kids or your partner has your back during this evolution that you're on. But you got to have that conversation with them and say why. Tell them your why. And I almost know for certain that they are going to have your back. When they see that belief that you have in yourself. And again, as a parent, when you see this belief that your child has in themselves, how can you argue with that? It's sort of like, it's such like an open heart share that you have, you know, in that conversation. If your partner isn't on board with you at that point, or like, I mean, think of it as a parent. If you hear that share from your child, are you going to like start talking them out of that? No, you're not going to do it with your child. So how could your partner, if they truly loved you, do that with you? I think they would say like, okay, I'm not sure how, you know, we can do it financially, but we'll find a way. We'll find a way because I love you. I see how meaningful this is to you. So we're gonna do it. And, you know, that's the belief we need to have in ourselves. That's the belief I need to see in my clients. So, you know, that's why I came on this live. And if you join me later on, it's like, you get to make a mistake and you get to be loved. Let's just repeat that over and over. You get to make a mistake and you get to be loved. You get to follow your dream, your goals, and you get to be loved by your partner, by your children, by your parents, by society. You get to be loved no matter what. Simply because, yes, this sounds cliche, but simply because you're worthy of it. You are allowed to make a mistake and still be loved through Source, by God, whoever that is for you. They have your back no matter what. No matter what. It's like, because we're human beings, we all make mistakes. You're just on a path. Like, you're going to go down a trail of breadcrumbs, and you're going to arrive there, figure out if that was the good thing to do or not, and then you're just going to branch out. If it's not the good thing, you're going to branch out and do something else. And if that doesn't work, you're just going to keep on going. You have to see that it's not always going to be the straight and narrow in life, people. It's not. So if you think you're going to reach some point in life where it's just going to be easy and straightforward, no. But you build up your resiliency. You're going to be like, okay, been here before. Remember when that happened? What did I do? I stood up, I shook myself off, and I kept on going. That's what I'm going to do. It's just sort of like, and like I was watching somebody's stories or somebody's, I don't know what it was, a reel, stories, or whatever it is. And it looked, can't say a word today, extravagant. It looked luxurious. It looked like, okay, it was an exceptional dining experience. And this person is extremely successful in their lives, and it looked beautiful. Like, it was just beautiful. But later on that day, I was like, it would be nice to have that same sort of dining experience that they were having, and they were sharing it, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. But I thought, you know what? Even if I do get to that point in life where I get to have a similar dining experience, like at this particular hotel in this particular country, and unless I have deep connection with someone out there, again, whether it's my children, my family, my partner, and even if you don't have that, even if it's an aunt, like a grandmother, a mentor, a coach, that's all I want. Like, that's all I want. Or my health, or my mindset, that's what's so important. Because happiness is not all this other stuff. I know for a fact that person has reached that stage in their life, and they know that their experience that they're having, the luxury that they're having right now, is not what's bringing them happiness. It's not that. It's not the money. So if your desire out there is all based on money, that's not the desire to have. My desire is freedom. 100% freedom. And I don't mean, it's like, first of all, it's freedom in my mind, that that my thoughts are just good thoughts, like loving thoughts, never criticizing thoughts. Like, to get to a point in life where I can bounce back so quickly. Like, let's say, I'm triggered by someone, or if I'm not feeling so good, to know that in a moment I can switch my life around by changing my thoughts, by sinking into gratitude, and just like, I am so it's like, I'm so happy. I am so happy right now for having whatever, I have in my life. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't need to reach that level of luxury in my life. It's more like I have freedom to have, like, to be joyful and be in the joy of the moment all the time. Like, what's interesting, like I come from a cold climate. Our winters are pretty harsh here in Canada, in Manitoba, where I live right now. But like as fall approaches, for the first time in a very, very long time, I'm just like, bring it on. Like, normally I would be like, oh, the winter, I don't like to be cold. But like it's sort of, winter is also beautiful. There's so many beautiful things about winter. The stillness of winter, knowing that, all the animals are hibernating, like things are chill. Like, I mean, I don't have to go out after my work day and mow the lawn or prune the shrubs or take care of my garden, which I love. But like, sometimes we're just tired and we don't want to do that. It's sort of like, it's the time for hibernation, for rest, for rejuvenation, to stay in bed longer, perhaps. Yeah, I'm not crazy about the darkness. That is one thing I'm not crazy about. I love light. I thrive off of light. But you know what? Maybe we light more candles. Maybe we light a fire more often. Maybe we get more cozy light. It's just sort of like, it's all in the perception of how we perceive the moment right now. We get to choose. We get to choose how we want to perceive the moment right now. And another skill that I don't talk about enough, but it's so related to making mistakes, is the skill of laughing at ourselves. This is something I do very easily. Like, do you think it's easy for me to just start talking to my audience, and knowing very well that I say a lot, or I say I know a lot, or not I know, but like I know I say that all the time. Like I use all these fillers that aren't necessary. I'm not the greatest public speaker, but I laugh at myself. I'm a human being. I actually make mistakes, and I think it's quite humorous sometimes, the mistakes I make. It's sort of like, go figure, another Luella move. There we go. I feel like I'm oblivious to many things, like, and I don't consider myself somebody with ADHD, and I don't have focus. It's just me. That's who I am. Like, I'll be walking, down a sidewalk or with my husband or something like that. And he's like, pushing me aside. He's like, you almost walked into that person. I'm like, oh, I did? And it's sort of like, it probably drives him insane because he feels like, I'm so zoned out. But I mean, at the same time, I'm sure he loves me for it. He's never said that, but like, it's all these quirky things about you that you got to start loving, because it's what makes you unique. Amanda Francis is a coach that I do love a lot. I mean, she's very much about all being in the flow and all that, but at the same time, I know she worked her ass off to be where she is right now. And, one of her mantras, at least I've heard her say it over and over, it's like, you're the catch, you're the prize, you're the whole damn vibe. And that's so true. Like, I mean, it's so true. And you have to start embodying that. You have to put that on repeat in your head over and over and over. And if you know me, I've also been trained as a clinical hypnotherapist, and I could continue doing that. I could still book people for hypnotherapy and probably change their lives, because I've changed many people's lives from it. But you know what? You don't need me. You can self-hypnotize. Like, do self-hypnosis and you will change your life. And what I mean by that is you create the words that you need to keep on telling yourself over and over and over in your head. You do it. And if you need to record that, we have iPhones nowadays. Like, people didn't have access to these things in the past. We do. Start using technology to feed your soul, feed your heart, rather than distract yourself, as too many people do. Use it to make a voice memo to yourself. Use it to record, whatever. There's thousands of apps. If you don't have an iPhone and voice memo, use it. Tape yourself for 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. Just do it in a way that you will, you can listen to it every single day. And I would do this, and this is what I did for my clients, is sort of gather their problems, do an intake, find out what is it about themselves that is their limiting belief, that it's in their head. They were programmed with this thought about themselves, either through parental programming, societal programming, whatever that might be. Sometimes it's their partner, which is so sad, that has convinced them that they're this kind of person. This belief about yourself that is clearly not serving you, because it's keeping you stuck. It's keeping you from moving, doing the things that your heart desires you to do. So it's keeping you stuck. And to get out of that trap, you need to self-hypnotize yourself. Because what is self-hypnosis? Self-hypnosis is simply brainwashing yourself. That's what you're essentially doing, is brainwashing yourself. Because that's how you got to where you, that's why it's the thought that's in your head in the first place. Because we're all born, if we think of ourselves as computers, we're all born with a clear hard drive. You have not downloaded any software programs. You are clear. You are a gift from God. You are a miracle. You are pure potentiality at that time you were born. You, at that point, can and do anything in life. But then the programs start coming in. And as a parent, we all know we've done this to our children already, but it's never too late. And you know what? If we have given them programs that we're not proud of, let them do the work. We have to do the work. Believe me, you are never going to create the perfect child. So this is not about mom or dad guilt at all. But you can tell them a different story now if you want, if you feel differently. Anyway, we have all received programs in our life, like quote unquote traumas. And it's up to you to step out of that trauma, okay? So you need to start telling yourself a different story, because those other stories that have kept you stuck are all lies. So just tell yourself a different lie. And I was trained by Marissa Peer, with my hypnosis. And yeah, she wrote a book, Tell Yourself a Different Lie. It's true, because these other programs that aren't serving you are all lies. They're lies. So tell yourself a different lie. Record the words that you want to be telling yourself every single day. Listen to that recording. I would suggest first thing in the morning or late in the evening to do your self-hypnosis, because that's when your brain is sort of at that slower brainwave stage that, think about the traditional ways they hypnotize, with the clock sort of thing. It's the same thing. That's like slowing down the mind, coming from the conscious to the subconscious. And all your programming is in the subconscious. That's where you're operating your life on autopilot. And we need this. We need some of this. It's sort of like, that's how you know how to drive. You've been programmed. It's now in the subconscious. You don't have to think about it anymore. Thank God. Can you imagine? Every time you stepped into your car, turn the ignition on. Use your right foot to push on the thank God we have programming. We need this programming. It's not that. It's like it's the wrong programming. That's what you have to excavate from your subconscious, which a good therapist, a good mentor, a good coach can do. Extract it. Okay, here it is in front of us now. What are we going to do about it? We are going to get rid of it by telling yourself a different story. So think about this. Go back or just like reflect. I love journaling. I love journaling. To me, that's my escape. I love writing. And, ask yourself a question. Why? Okay, so do this exercise. Write out a bunch of affirmations. In other words, like things you want. I am beautiful. I am a wonderful mother. I am a great partner. I am lovable. I am special. I am unique. I am, all the truths, basically all the truths that you have. And when you're writing it out, if you feel some resistance, it's all of a sudden you're going, this doesn't feel true. Then flip that page on the other side, and it's blank on the other side, and just write that down. It's sort of like, just realize that there's resistance there. Then get back to the exercise. Go on the other. I am this, I am this, I am this. Whenever you feel resistance, go back. And then write it down quick and get back to the exercise, all the loving truths. Then when you're done that, go back to the page after that, the other side, the flip side, and see where there's resistance. And you're like, why does this not seem true? I want it to be true, but it's not true. Why? And tell yourself a different lie. So, in other words, make it the truth. So get rid of all the negative part of that and make it the truth by doing the recording. Because, and it's important in the recording too, don't use any negativity or negation in your script that you're creating for yourself, your self-hypnosis script. So in other words, don't put anything like I am not a bad person. No, don't put that. I am a good person. Okay? Like, don't use the words like opposite of what you want to be, because you got to realize you're hearing that over and over, and whatever you hear over and over, you're becoming brainwashed in. So you need to use only positive, beautiful statements. And also, like, in that script, like already be where you want to go. Like, visualize. That's part of hypnosis too. Like, I am in the most beautiful relationship right now. My partner gets me. We have amazing, deep conversations. I can see myself, I don't know, like in just all these beautiful places. Like, I mean, like just speak about it, and anything you desire, put that in your script and listen to it over and over again. You can even put some background. Those of you that are creative, you can even put some beautiful background music to it. It's not easy. I mean, it's not hard anymore with technology. It's very easy. Or if you know, well, if you, I wouldn't say, like I was going to say, if you trust somebody else and they can do it for you. But you know what? I wouldn't share this with anybody. Don't share this script with anybody. I mean, even your partner, even somebody you really love, even your grandmother. Like, I mean, I feel like your desires, and I say grandmothers because they have amazing unconditional love for you, right? So, and it's just something that happens with older age, I think. You know, like if we've ever had that parent that were like, you know, you weren't the best parent. Have you noticed how your parent now is the most amazing grandparent to your children? It's like, where did that come from? Why weren't you like that with me? But anyway, that's what happens as we age. I think our heart opens up more. But getting back on track, yeah, no, don't share your desires. Don't share. I mean, I told you open up to your partner, but it's sort of like, I'm talking more like, you know, if this is your goal, if you've made a career decision, or if you've, I don't know, if you want to, you know, do a certain diet that you feel is more aligned to you, if you want to become vegan, if you want to become whatever, like, I mean, don't share it. Like, I mean, share it. Like, I mean, you know, because you love your body, that's why you're doing it, and you don't have to do that in silence. So it's, but like, what I'm really like, your dreams. Yes, there's a certain. You have to have a really solid relationship before you share. Like, I don't know. I would never share my script. I would never. I mean, not that I don't have a solid relationship. It's just sort of like, there's some things that you just keep in privacy, I think. Like, I mean, that's how I feel. Maybe you feel differently, but. So thank you so much. And, you know, there's ways of working with me. I'm not going to tell you what I have out there right now, but like, just go to my link tree, go to my bio. There's ways of working with me. I must say, I love one-on-one coaching. I love people asking me questions. I love interactions. So if I do groups, I really want them to be interactive. I want lots of questions given to me. And I love answering people's questions. I really, really do. It's a definite calling for me. I want people to come with questions. It just serves me so well. So anyway, have a wonderful day, evening, wherever you are. And yeah, we'll see you on the internet. Bye.
Thanks once again for joining me on another great episode of I Think I Can podcast. If you liked it, please subscribe below so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And until next week, treat each day like it was your last, because each new day is a privilege that we shan't take for granted. Cheers and have a great week. Bye-bye.